still in calculus. So into this tutorial we are going to see how to solve some examples under the product rule. In the video that I introduced the product rule, it says that the product rule formula says uv prime plus v u prime. So the value of b prime is the same thing as dv by dx plus v, and u prime is the same thing as what? Du by what? Du by dx. So as I explained in the introduction to product rule, this is the general formula that you can use to solve any problem under the product rule. So how can we solve this kind of problem? So let's take a look to this. If I take a look to this problem, the first thing that I'm going to say is that I have to say let this first product to be u and let this second to be what? To be v. Because product rule, it is just like a multiplication, to multiply this by this. So you have to let the first part to be what? U, and the second part to be what? To be v. So I have to say u is the same thing as what? This, which is x squared plus 3x, and then u. Okay, sorry, v. V is what? V is x cubed minus what? Minus 5x plus 1. So after then, the next thing that you're going to do is that you have to find the derivative of this u. To find the derivative of u, it means du by dx. So I have to say du by dx, it will be equals to, if I differentiate 2x, I'll get what? Okay, if I differentiate x squared, I'll get 2x plus what? The derivative of 3x is what? 3. For those that need more explanation on differentiation, kindly check the description of the video. You will see introduction to differentiation and its application. So I have to differentiate b. To differentiate b is the same thing as saying v prime, and this b prime is the same thing as saying the v by dx. Differentiate x power 3. You have to keep the 3 down and keep the x and subtract by 1, which will now be equals to 2. Minus, so I have to differentiate 5x. If I differentiate 5x, it will now be 5. Derivative of constant, it is 0. So after identifying this, I have to apply the product rule formula that says u v prime plus what? V u prime. The v prime is the same thing as dv dx, and the u prime is the same thing as what? Du dx. So the next thing that I'm going to do is that I have to say, I'll keep this, I'll have x what? X squared plus 3x multiplied by b prime. What is b prime? This is the same thing as what? B prime. This is the same thing as u prime. U prime, it is what? It is 3x squared minus what? Minus 5. So I have to say 3x squared minus 5, and have to say plus v and u prime. The value of b, which is this, so I have to say x cubed minus 5x plus 1 multiplied by u prime, and u prime, which is 2x plus 3. So this should now be 2x plus 3. The next thing that I'm going to do is that I have to expand this bracket. If I said x squared multiplied by this, the 3, I will now keep the 3 down, and therefore I have to add the powers. So this should now be x power 4. So after then I have to say again x squared multiplied by 5. So at the end I'll get negative sign of what? 5x squared, and this multiplied by this I'll get what? Plus 3 times 3, which is 9. I have to add the power. I have power 1, I have power 2. So I have to say x power 3. So 3 multiplied by negative 5, I'll end up with negative 15x. Negative 15 x. The next thing that I'm going to do is that I have to say plus. I have to expand this bracket. X cubed multiplied by this, I'll get 2. I'll add the powers. I have power 1, so 3 plus 1, I'll get 4. So what the next thing that I'm going to do? The next thing that I'm going to do here is that after multiplying this by this, I'll multiply this by this. So I have to say 2 multiplied by this, I'll get negative what? Negative 10x what? X squared. And then I have to say this multiplied by 1 plus what? Plus 2x. All therefore I'll use what? This 3 to multiply the bracket. 3 multiplied by this, I'll get plus what? Plus 3x cubed. The next thing I have to say 3 multiplied by 5. What is 3 multiplied by 5, which is what? 15. So I have to say negative 15x. 3 multiplied by 3. 3 multiplied by 1, which is 3. So as you can see, I have power 4, I have power 2, I have power 3, I have power 1. So I can't add this first bracket because they don't have the same power. So if I take a look to this again, this is the power of what? This is the power of 1. I can't also add this, but I can use this bracket and this bracket to what? To add. I have the power of 4. Also I have the power of what? Power of 4. So what the next thing that I'm going to do? The next thing that I'm going to do here is that, but I have to use both the bracket, the first and second bracket. I have to add the like terms. I have what? Power 4 and power 4. 3 plus 2, it will give me what? It will give me 5x power 4. And then I have power of 3. This is the power of 3, this is the power of 3. If I add 3 and 3 and what? And 9. What should I going to get? I'll get 12. So I have to say plus 12x power 3. And don't forget, I'm done with this, I'm done with this, I'm done with this, also I'm done with this. So I have to take a look to the power of what? To the power of 2. I have power of 2 minus 5 minus what? Minus 7, which is minus 15. So I have to say minus 15x squared. So I'm done with this, I'm done with this. The next thing that I'm going to do, I have to take a look to the values that have only x to the power of 1. Minus 15 plus what? Plus 2. What should I going to get? So I'll get minus 13. So this should now be minus 13x to the power of 1. So as you can see, this goes and this goes. The next thing that I am left with is that, I have negative 15 plus what? Plus 2, and also minus what? Minus 15. So I got minus 13, so I have to say this minus 13, I have to minus it by what? Yes, I got minus 13, so I have to minus it again by what? By 15. So at the end, I'll get 10 and 10 will give me 25 and 8, so I'll get 28. So this should now become 28x, and therefore I have what? I have only 3. So I have to keep down what? Plus 3. So this is the final solution of what? Final solution of this product rule. So let's see how can we find the solution of the second question. It is all the same procedure. This should now be u and this is v. So we have to first identify the u. U should now be equals to the 2x cubed minus 7, and we have to find the u prime. U prime is the same thing as du by dx. It means the derivative of u. I have to differentiate this. 2 multiplied by 3, which is 6. I have to keep the x down. I have to subtract by 1 in this power, and it will now become 2. So the next thing that I'm going to do is that derivative of this 7 is constant. This 7 is constant, and its derivative it is 0. So I have to say v is the same thing as root of x plus 4x squared. And what will be v prime? V prime is the same thing as, I have to differentiate the value of root of x. Root of x is the same thing as x a half. So I have to say plus what? Plus 4x squared, but this x a half, I have to differentiate it, and I have to also differentiate this. This is the same thing as 8x, but to differentiate this, I have to keep down 1 over 2, I have to keep the x, and I have to say 1 over 2 to subtract by 1. The general formula that says that nx to the n minus 1. This is the value of n, which is the power. The power comes down, and this is the same value, and this is n, which is the power minus 1. So if I subtract 1 over 2 by 1, what should I get? LCM, which is 2. 2 into 2, 1. 1 multiplied by 1, 1. Minus 2 into 1, 2. 2 multiplied by 1, 2. 1 minus 2, negative 1 over 2. So the next thing is that I have to say 1 over 2x to negative 1 over 2. And also this is the same thing as writing. I have to say this 1. I have to keep it. This negative, let's say, indicate this over. And then I have to keep this 2 down. And I'm left with only x to half. So this x to half is the same thing as this. So I can just write this as 1 over 2 root of x as what I differentiate this. I differentiate this root of x. So I have to say plus 8x. So the next thing that I'm going to do, I have to substitute. According to formula uv prime plus v u prime. What is the value of u? So this general formula, okay, the general solution should now be equals to, I have to say the value of u, which is 2x cubed minus 7, and plus b prime. This is b prime as 1 over 2 root of x plus 8x plus, the value of this b, it is root of x plus 4x squared multiplied by x squared. So the next thing that I'm going to do here is that I have to say 2x cubed minus 7 multiplied by 1 over 2 root of x plus 8x plus, if I multiply this by this is the same thing as x a half, x 1 over 2 multiplied by 6x squared. I have to say this should now be 6, and the x and x are the same, so I have to just add the powers. Because I'm multiplying, I have to add the powers. If you are going to multiply, it doesn't matter all the powers are the same or not, but if you are going to add or subtract, the power must be the same. So as you can see, the power are not the same, but we can easily multiply them, we can easily join them together because we are multiplying, no matter how the power it is the same or not. So I have to say the coefficient here, which is 1. So I have to say the x, I have to put x and add the powers. So 2 plus 1 over 2, guys. This should now give me the LCM, which is 2 into 1, 2 multiplied by 2, which is 4, plus 2 into 2, 1 multiplied by 1, which is 1, and it's the same thing as what? 5 by 2. So this is the same thing as 6x 5 by 2. The next thing is that I have to multiply this and this by this is the same thing as plus 24x, and the powers are the same. I have to just put 4. So this is the final solution to this second problem. So the third question says y it is equal to x squared sine x multiplied by x cubed plus 1. This should now be u and this should now be b. So using the product rule, let me just fix out the u which is x squared sine x. What will be the value of what? Value of b u prime. So I have to differentiate u. But again, to differentiate this u, it is also a product rule. So let's say this should now be what? This should be u. The product rule says that u v prime plus what? V u prime. So the next thing to do is that I have to keep down what? The value of u. What is the value of u? Let's say this to be u and this to be v. The value of this u, which is x squared by v prime, the value of v, and so differentiate the value of v. If I differentiate sine x, it will be cos x. So after saying that, I have to say plus value of v, the v which is sine x, and then multiplied by what? The sine x, which is the value of v, multiplied by u prime. This is the value of u, differentiate it. So this is the same thing as 2x sine x. So I hope you get it. So I have to say v is the same thing as x cubed plus 1, and therefore the v prime, I have to differentiate this. I will get 3x squared plus 0, because derivative of constant, it is 0. So apply the product rule, get the solution of your problem. The product rule, ub prime plus what? Vu prime. U, why it is equals, what is the value of u? Which is x squared sine x multiplied by b prime, which is 3x squared plus v, okay, plus value of what? Plus the value of b. So what will be the value of v, which is x cubed plus 1 u prime, x squared cos x plus 2x sine x. If I distribute this, if I expand the brackets, I'll get 3x, the power should add power 4, and then I have to say sine what? Sine x. So what the next thing? I have to say plus x cubed plus 1 into x squared cos x plus 2x sine x. So this is the general solution to this problem. So let's say the third question. We have e to the power of x. So this should now be u and this should now be v. U, it is equals to e to the x, and therefore u prime. Derivative of e to the power of x is the same thing as e to the power of x. So this is e to the power of x, and v is the same thing as x power 4 minus 2x squared plus 1. And therefore, the v prime should now be equals to derivative of x power 4 is the same thing as 4x power 3 minus derivative of 2x squared is 4x, derivative of constant is 0. Using the product rule, uv prime plus vu prime. So this should now be equals to u, which is e to the power of x multiplied by b prime, which is 4x cubed minus what? Minus 4x, close bracket, plus v. Value of b, which is x power 4 minus 2x squared plus 1. Yeah. And b, and what? Sorry, u prime, which is e to the x. But you have to take note, since each bracket I have e to the power of x, so this is very easy to what? To factor out this e to the x. So this is the same thing as e to the x by what? By 4x cubed minus 4x plus what? Plus x power 4 minus 2x squared plus 1. So there is no value that have the same power. This is a power of what? 3, and this is a power of 1, power of 4, power of 2, and this is 1 as constant. So this should now be equals to, which power comes first? The power 4 comes first, and then power 3 plus 4x power 3, and therefore power 2, 2x squared power 1 minus 4x plus what? 1. I just arrange the powers: power of 4, power of 3, power of 2, power of 1, and power of 0. So this is the final solution of what? Of this fourth problem. Also, we have to apply the product rule. Product rule. This is V, U and V. You have to set the first part to be U, second part to be V. So this is the same thing as U is the same thing as ln x, and we all know that ln of x is the same thing as 1 over x. Ln of y is the same thing as 1 over y. So therefore, U prime should now be equals to 1 over x, and V should now be equals to x squared plus 5x. V prime is the same thing as, if I differentiate x squared, 2x. If I differentiate 5x, 5. According to the formula, u v prime plus what? V u prime. What is u? U is the same thing as what? 1. Okay, u is the same thing as ln x. Ln of x multiplied by b prime, which is 2x plus 5 plus, what is v? V, which is x squared plus 5x. What is u prime? Which is 1 over x. 1x will go with 1x. At the end, y should now be equals to ln of x, 2x plus 5 plus only x here plus 5x. So this is the final solution to this problem. So this is all I have for you in some of the problem examples under the product rule. If this video is more helpful to you, don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and don't forget to like and comment, and do share to your learning colleagues. Thanks you for watching. Have a nice day.